guys, I'm so thankful that I get to share this message with you today. I wrote a message on forgiving others, and I'm calling this all or nothing, because when we forgive, we have to forgive all the way, or we won't get any forgiveness from God when we do things wrong. In Matthew 18:21, Peter, one of the disciples, came to Jesus and asked, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Up to 7 times?" I picture this as like Peter coming up to him, because Peter's a real confident dude and he's so sure of everything he says. So I just picture him coming up to Jesus like, "Jesus, you think like 7 times to forgive someone is good, right? Like 7 times. Jesus goes, "No, 70 times 7 times. The disciples were like, "Whoa, that's so many times to forgive someone who sins against us. Why would we do that?" But then Jesus tells them this parable. And this parable starts out with a master, and his servant comes to him. This servant owed him a ton of money. We're gonna call this servant Bob. So Bob owes this dude a lot of money, and he did not have this money. So the master gets mad at him and is about ready to make Bob sell everything he owns and make his family sell everything he owns to pay him back. But Bob says, "Please be patient with me, master. I will pay you back." And the master had a change of heart, and he goes, "I cancel all your debt. I forgive you. You're free to go." So Bob leaves, and as Bob's leaving, one of Bob's servants comes to him. And I just said Bob so many times, but it's okay. And one of his servants comes to him and it is like, "I don't have the money that I owe you." And this dude owed Bob a ton of money. He's like, "I don't have the money that I owe you. Please just be patient with me. I'll pay you back." And instead of forgiving him, just like Bob got forgiven, he starts to choke the guy and screams at him and says, "Pay me my money." And the guy doesn't have the money, so Bob throws him into jail. Well, people who were watching this go down, they went to Bob's master and they were like, "He just threw a guy into jail for doing the same thing that he just did to you." And the master says this about him. He says, "You wicked servant. I canceled all your debt and you begged me to. Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant just as I had on you?" In anger, his master turned him over to jailers until he should pay back all he owed. And this is where it gets good. It says, "This is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brother from your heart." It doesn't just say unless you forgive your brother, it says from your heart. Something that God understands about us is that we're all human. He knows that we're gonna make mistakes, but he forgives us anyway. And we need to start understanding that about other people. They're human, they're gonna hurt us, they're gonna do us wrong, and they are going to sin against us, but we forgive them because God forgives us. God fully forgives us too. It's not halfway at all. You cannot forgive halfway. It is impossible. You have to forgive from your heart. And God fully forgives us, so we need to start fully forgiving other people. When we have unforgiveness and bitterness and hurt in our heart, everything we do and all of our actions come from that place. I know in my life when I was severely hurt by a family member and things they had did and things they had said to me, everything I did came from that place of hurt. I was mean, I was rude, critical, like I was just not a fun person to be around at all because I was so deeply wounded, and even if I wanted to be different, everything I did came from that place. Well, one day, God healed me and he set me free from that hurt, and I forgave this family member. They never asked for my forgiveness, and they definitely didn't deserve it, but I knew that if God could forgive me for sinning against him and totally just turning my back on him, then I could forgive this person no matter what they did to me. Until we fully forgive other people, we can't fulfill our purpose because everything we do comes from that place of unforgiveness, and God has such great plans for us, but until we forgive, we can't fulfill those plans. And that's our first step in our journey in living like Christ. We have to forgive and have a pure heart so we can fulfill the plans that God has for our lives. The word unforgiveness is never mentioned in the Bible. And to me, I think I'm like, then who am I to think it's okay to not forgive someone? Because unforgiveness is never once mentioned in the Bible. And that was just so humbling to me because God never even thinks about not forgiving us because he wants us to forgive other people. So all we have to do to be forgiven by God and the kingdom is forgive others, even when they don't deserve it. And I know it's so hard. but that's what he calls us to do. And another thing that God does that just I'm so thankful for is he doesn't hold our mistakes against us. When we fully forgive and when we forgive from our heart, we can't throw people's past back in their face, and we can't hold them to their mistakes that they made. I know with all the things that I've done, I never want someone to throw that back in my face and to be like, well, remember when you did this, or remember when you did this. And God never does that to us, even though he could so easily. He never does. So when we fully forgive someone, we can't hold them to their past and hold them to their mistakes. The hardest person to forgive is ourselves, guys. We, in this journey to live like Christ, we need to start with forgiveness, and we need to start by forgiving ourselves. Forgiving ourselves for things, and it's different for everyone, but we need to forgive ourselves and accept that God has made us new, and he's forgiven us, and we have a clean slate. And then we need to come from a place of forgiveness for others all the time. We need to love others and have a pure heart and forgive even when they don't deserve it. And it's hard, and it doesn't happen right away. You can't just forgive someone in a day, especially when you have deep wounds. But if you work on it and you forgive, eventually it becomes easier, and you live a lifestyle of forgiveness, and it saves us so much hurt in the long run. And it just is a great lesson to learn now. So I believe that all of you can do it. Just start by forgiving yourself first. Forgive yourself first. Accept that God has made you new, and forgive others even when they don't deserve it. I can't wait to see you all in person, and I love you guys.